Hi, this is Paulie, Brooklyn, Queens again, and here I am back in the saddle again. I'm here to talk about when I was working over in Harlem Hospital. Now, here is the ID card right here. There we go. It says Harlem Hospital Center, and I was working there back in the early 90s, and I wanted to talk to you about the speech that I went to. That was a requirement as part of a field work, at least that's what they told me. Now, when I went there, there was a woman who was asked to speak by the hospital. She was invited to speak there. Now, you have to keep in mind that hospitals are paid by taxpayer dollars in large. Federal funding, local taxes, state, city money is given to them. Now, this woman, her name was Frances Cress-Welsing. You could look up on Amazon.com. She was given, she wrote a book called The ISIS Papers. Now, she was asked to give a speech at a hospital. She was invited. That's what I'm assuming. You know, people don't just walk into hospitals and give speeches. She was giving a speech that was titled Urban Violence. Now, this sounds like an appropriate type of a speech to be giving in a city. After all, in cities, especially large metropolitan areas, you would have urban violence, would you not? Gangs and, shootings and, those types of things would happen, right? So, what it turns out to be is that this particular time, the speech, which sounded benign, urban violence, well, not necessarily benign, after all, you have to look at the topic. It was not a speech about urban violence at all. It turns out to be a speech about eugenics. Yes, eugenics. Do you know what eugenics is? Eugenics is about racial genetic inferiority. Yes, racial genetic inferiority. When was the last time we've heard about speeches about eugenics? In Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany. Yes, and this was a largely African-American audience, and you know what? They liked it. They liked it. And boy, did they like it a lot. And you know what? I was the only white guy there, and I was sitting dead center in the audience. My supervisor on this field work, he took me in. He told me, let's go to this thing. He was a Haitian guy. And he took me and he sat me dead center in the auditorium. And we were sitting there. I thought I was a dead man. And you have to keep in mind, this is back in 1994, was it? And man, oh man. And this was at the height of the that time when the Crown Heights riots were going on, the Los Angeles riots were going on, and it wasn't, it wasn't just in Los Angeles. It was going on in plenty of places. They didn't really talk about it too much happening in New York, but, it was going on. And this was around the time I was further downtown, Beth Israel Hospital. I was chased by a mob. A mob, yes, a mob. 5 blocks. Had to run. And you know what? This was a talk in a major metropolitan hospital about eugenics. And I was going to file, I was considering filing a civil rights lawsuit. You have to keep in mind, imagine yourself in 1949, no, let's say 1939, correct myself, 1939, Nazi Germany, being surrounded by Nazis in full uniform. Adolf Hitler is up on the podium giving a speech, giving one of these speeches, giving a speech. And imagine yourself being a Jew, wearing a yellow star, dead center in the audience, being the only Jew. That's what I felt like. I thought I was a dead man. And you know what? This was something that was actively going on. There were people that were applauding. Oh, and there was a woman who stood up screaming, I love you. And she actually said, I worship you. I worship you. There was a woman there. Oh, man, I thought I was a dead man. Completely insane. And you know what? These things go on. I was just there at one. It was random chance that I happened to be there. And you know what? When I was there, I was sent to Harlem Hospital as a punishment for being a white guy. And this is what the head of my department told me, because I walked into the classroom one time wearing a pair of boots, and the head of my department told me, I don't like those boots, you look like a Nazi, you got to be taught a lesson. And this is the God-honest truth. Now, the department that I was in, I was the only white male that was in the department. Now, this is like a male nursing, this is a nursing type of a school that I went to. It wasn't really nursing, it was occupational therapy. And it's mainly dominated by women, and mostly, women of color, and, myself sticking out like a sore thumb. They don't like that. No. You're not supposed to be here. We don't like the way you look, And myself being a pretty imposing character, I stand almost 5'11", and, being those blue eyes of mine. I don't know if you can see it. My camera's pretty cruddy. I have to pick up a better camera. Not a good deal. Send me off to Harlem Hospital. Teach me a good lesson. That's what you get for being a blue-eyed devil. That's what you get for being a Nazi. We're going to send... That's what, isn't that odd? Teach me a lesson for being a Nazi. So they send me to a place where they give Nazi speeches. Isn't that something? All right. Isn't that funny? Quite ironic, to say the least. Never fails, right? The irony. All right, well, just goes to show you, these types of things will happen. Hope it doesn't happen to you guys. Well, if it does, then brace yourself. All right, well, take care. Have a good night, and maybe you learned something. Well, if you didn't, then maybe you will soon. Be wise. Take care, God bless, and have a good night. This is the Reverend Paulie, Brooklyn, Queens. Hey, if Al Sharpton could be a reverend, why not me?